guys, it's me, Kelly. First things first, my hair is still kind of wet, so don't mind that. Second thing second, I tried to add a lamp today to my setup so I can have a little bit of lighting. You guys know I keep it OG YouTube, no lighting, no editing, no nothing. But I thought maybe I would add like a lamp just because when I film at night, I feel like it's just kind of like whack. So anyways, if you see shadows and shit, that's because I have a lamp today. Yay. But lately I've just been thinking like a lot, like even though I'm not like quarantined because I'm an essential worker, I go to work, I work out, and that's literally it. The rest of my day is just me on Twitter, me watching YouTube videos, binging Netflix shows, watching 90 Day, and thinking, and just thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and remembering like past events and stuff like that, especially now that I am in therapy. I am in EMDR, I think that's what it's called, therapy. So it's like focused on trauma, going back to when it all happened. I'm starting from the beginning. And school was a little traumatic for me, so not surprising that it popped up. And ever since I started talking about school in therapy, I've been having like a whole lot of other thoughts about my experience and how kind of like weird it was. So this is my Catholic school experience story. I just wanted to wait until I was really done with school, like high school, to make this video. I didn't want to make it fresh out of high school. I wanted to have like a different approach, and it's literally been 7 years since I graduated high school, which is fucking crazy, but your girl's getting old. So I think that it's all right to make this video now because I can look back as an adult and have like a different perspective, and it's not just gonna be like angsty or whatever. It's just gonna be, hey, this is what happened. So I guess I'll start from the beginning. I attended a Catholic school from sophomore year to like graduation, so senior year, so like 3 years. And I went there because I had just a bad experience freshman year in public school, and so bad. I was just very depressed, and it was the hardest thing ever to get me to go to school because I hated school. I would sit in the car with my mom and be like, I'm not walking in. Like, what are you gonna do if I don't walk in? And she's like, I'm gonna call the cops. It was so bad. She was like threatening to call the cops on me. I hated school. I hated that we had to like fit in with other people and other crowds and like pick a group. I didn't want to. I had my own little group of like misfits who turned on me. Just a little bit, and not all of them. And obviously I'm an adult now looking back, like those are kids, and kids can be mean, kids can be weird, kids can be moody. I'm not excluding myself from that. I was messy then, I'm messy now. But yeah, I had like a nice group of friends freshman year, but after that things just kind of got really messy, so I tapped out. I'm like, I don't even want to fit in with anybody anymore. I would eat with the like special education people just because, well, they didn't really talk to me. I could just sit there in peace, in silence, and just eat my lunch. And that was just kind of that. But I wasn't like at a table by myself, so people would like come up to me unsolicited and be like, try to be my friend, like they do in the movies. Which, side note, in middle school, there was this girl who would sit by herself all the fucking time. People would like make fun of her and shit. And since I watch a lot of TV, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to go sit with her and like befriend her because that's the right thing to do. Well, I sat down with her. All my friends were making fun of me. They're like, why are you sitting with her? Like, what the fuck? And As soon as I sit down with her, I try and make conversation. She is a brick wall, and then she gets up and leaves. So then I was the one sitting by myself when I'm trying to be a good person and do a good thing. Yeah, so after that, I was just like, fuck it, you know, let me just be real, you know. But yeah, that was my problem with high school. I think way too much. I always have, and I kind of saw through all the fakeness, all the bullshit, and I didn't want to be a part of it. And I also didn't want to be alone because it was like a lot of loneliness too. And whew, I was spiraling. I was self-harming like a little bit too, and I was just very much having like suicidal thoughts, like I want to fucking kill myself. I'd rather do that than go to school. Anyways, on to this lighthearted video. That kind of just sets the scene though of where I was at as like a 15-year-old. It wasn't good. So basically my parents gave me like a prerogative. They're like, you can either go to the other public school in the town, there's only two, or you can go to the Catholic school. I wanted to either go to community high school, which is you just go on your own pace, you don't have to fuck with nobody, which probably would have been the best decision for me, but there was such a stigma around that, and my parents didn't want me to be a part of it, like whatever, and they're like, you still need to socialize. I'm like, for what? But they wouldn't let me go to community, so I didn't want to go to the other like public school because that's where all like the rich kids went, and I just feel like I wouldn't fit in there. So I chose Catholic school. And I'm not, back then I was like kind of Christian, like I was always very spiritual, but I was never raised in a faith. My dad was raised Catholic and he went to Catholic school, and my mom, it's like iffy on that side of the family. Some of them are Jewish, but they don't practice it, and they just pretended to be Irish Catholics, which is why my name is Kelly, even though I'm not Irish, but that side was cosplaying. Anyways, now I embraced my Jewish heritage and I'm in the process of converting. I feel like that aligns with me the most. I like to honor that heritage because I feel like it was just pushed to the side, unfortunately, because they were afraid to be themselves on that side of the family, but times were way different then. But anyways, it is what it is. But back then I was like, I don't know, I was like a non-denominational Christian person, but I wasn't Catholic. So that's the important thing here, and I'm trying to like fake it till I make it. But you have to be Catholic and confirmed, not even confirmed, but have your like first communion to receive the Eucharist. So every week we have church on Fridays, and I had to go up there to the Eucharist and be like this. Which means I'm not Catholic, you guys. And so every week I just had to remind everybody in the school I'm not Catholic. Sometimes I would try and just do like a little, or I would go up like, but yeah, sometimes you just do the big old X. And so the priest would just put his hand on your head, and say like a blessing, like, please bless this heathen. But yeah, it was a little awkward, little side note. It was so awkward, and that's when I felt like the most like different, like outsider. And I feel like I was never, like, they were really nice, and I don't want to say anything bad about anybody I went to school with. I never had a problem with anyone I went to school with. They were all really nice and like welcoming when I went there. Like, a couple of them were like, hey, why did you come here, like whatever, but they were just curious. Kids are curious, you know, whatever. And I never really had like a solid answer because I came because I was fucking depressed. But how are you gonna tell that to a school of like 15, 16-year-olds, you know? Like, it's just another reason why I felt not normal and like I couldn't completely be myself, is because I couldn't even explain why I was there. But they were all nice to me. They tried to get to know me, like whatever. I think I tried to get to know them too, but I am very shy, so it was just really hard. But no hard feelings towards any of the kids. I don't talk to anybody, but I just feel like it would be fake at this point to keep in touch because everyone's doing their own thing. And I've accepted that. And it is what it is, but obviously, like I said, I have respect for everybody. Nothing against any of the students, like literally any of them, like nothing. Which I don't think very many people can say, like, but I never had any beef with anybody, like not even like that. Like everything was always like chill with me. Occasionally there would be people like bickering and stuff, but like there wasn't any major drama except for one time. I think there was like a rumor about like a smelly pussy, but it wasn't my smelly pussy, so I really stayed out of it. But that's the only thing I can think of, honestly. I think someone had an issue, an apology. It was messy, but it wasn't my business. So I stayed out of it. I don't know. But the most, I think, drama came from the actual teachers, which is fucked up. And to the teachers, I will say, yeah, hard feelings. Sorry, like you're supposed to set me up for success, and here I am in my parents' house. Because I was freaking traumatized after these 4 years and had to like recoup and find myself again. But yeah, hard feeling towards them, not the students. The students didn't do anything, like it's fine. But yeah, so I wrote things down because I'm like, I know I'm gonna be all over the place. We didn't have to wear uniforms, which is really nice, but no sweatpants, no leggings, no shoulders. And then on Fridays we all had to like dress up, which meant no jeans, and then you have to wear like either black pants and a shirt or like a skirt. I always wear skirts and dresses just because I don't like the whole dressing up with like a black pair of pants and a shirt thing, because I don't like having to find like two different things that match. So I always do like the dresses. And one time a girl asked me, she's like, why do you always wear dresses? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm lazy. Was pretty much, you know, what it came down to. But I always wear dresses. And then one time I literally decided to wear heels with my dress, which I don't usually do. Well, now I do, but like back in high school I didn't really do that very often. I think it was senior year. So I was like, you know, growing up a little bit more, and I got called to the freaking office and they had to like measure my skirt with a freaking ruler. It was just because I was wearing heels. My legs look super long because I already have like longish legs. I don't know. But yeah, my legs look super long, so the skirt of course is gonna look shorter. But I was in dress code. It was so annoying that I felt like a boss-ass bitch going back to class, like you thought, to the teacher when the secretary like was like, no, you're fine. Yeah, so I came back to class, I was like, bitch, you thought. But yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I only had like a couple friends, like 2-3 girls and then like one guy. Towards senior year though, I got to know people better because we had literally every class together. It was such a small like class size. Like my senior year, like everybody who graduated, there's only 2 of us. So there wasn't like how at a traditional high school you would have like 3 different math classes. Everyone would take like a different one at a different time. No, we all went to math, we all went to English together, we all went to like all the core classes together, and then we had like a couple electives, but our choices were really slim. You could take art, you could take this like Christian service learning class called CSL, you could take yearbook, choir, band, and like a tech class, and that was literally it. Or you could have a study hall. Senior year I had like 3 study halls because I stacked them up, I guess. I have no idea, but I had 3 study halls one year, which was really crazy. And I think we had trimesters, so classes would change a little bit for each term, but for the most part they stayed the same. Instead of health class, we had theology of the body. Like, that was our sex education, which was abstinence. Don't have sex until you get married. And yes, people did get pregnant. Just saying. Of course, nothing against them. I feel like our education was horrible. They didn't teach us anything to prevent it, so of course people are gonna get pregnant. It is what it is. Luckily I did not. I was a virgin throughout all of high school. I was ugly, and yeah, that's that. But yeah, it was like really awkward. Oh, and then the teacher was like very much like too personal, because oh my god, people were like asked like the stupidest questions. Like, I swear we were always trolling, especially the religion teachers. We went through 4 in 1 year one time, which I will get to. But somebody asked, can you have sex during your period? Of course, just go ahead and ask that. But I do think it's important to ask questions. But yeah, that was just like, why? And I think the teacher took it as, does she personally do it, not can I do it? You know, like, it's very different. Like, it's the same question, but someone was asking, like, in theory, can you? She wasn't asking the teacher, can you? Can specifically you, do you do that? I think it was like more of a general thing, but the teacher took it personally, and she's like, yes, I do have sex during my period, and it's a beautiful experience. It's like, I'm gonna stop you there. But yeah, that was really awkward to hear, to witness, to be there for. But yeah, religion, I didn't hate it because I do love to learn about different religions. And also that class like was basically another study hall. Like, we didn't learn shit in it. But yeah, I think it was sophomore year or junior year, we went through the 4 teachers. We had one of the pastors, the priest, I guess, who everybody loved, Father Carlos. Shout out to Father Carlos. But he took all the money and he left. And he never came back. He fled the country. And then I remember they had to bring us all into the like commons area, and we all knew something was up when we had to go to the commons area together, because there was gonna be an announcement. It was gonna be not good. I think one time somebody died, not like a student or anything or a teacher, but like somebody, like an extended family member had like died. So we all had to go to the commons, and like they announced it. We all signed a card. But other than that, it was like an announcement regarding like somebody getting fired. So instead of having like a million different questions, they would just all tell us like at one time. So we all had to go to the commons, and they like read us off like the little statement that the diocese had like written, and I think there was no questions. Like, we weren't able to ask anything. They literally just told us, hey, listen, he did take the collections money, he did flee the country. When he comes back, he will be arrested. And that was that. So he was our religion teacher. So after that, the principal kind of stepped in, and he half-assed our curriculum. And then we had another pastor come in. This man, we had like an outdoor service one time, and he was wearing his sunglasses the whole time. It was like so bizarre. Rumor on the block was that he was an alcoholic. Nothing against being an alcoholic. It is what it is. I'd rather have an alcoholic priest than one who touches the children. Just saying, like, just saying. So I'd rather that than the worst, which is the case in a lot of different churches. This one, don't think any of that was going down. I never heard about anything like that. But unfortunately, the Catholic Church is known for that. This one, we only had thieves and alcoholics. Like, that's it. So we were doing pretty good. So we had him for a little bit, and then we had this one lady who we will call Janice. Janice was interested. She was the one who was talking about her period sex. she would literally sit up there for the prayer and she'd be like, "Dear God," and she would be taking vitamins. She took like 12 vitamins at one time. She'd be like, "Dear God, thank you for this day. I pray that you're with us today. And we pray for all the unborn children. Help us be the light in this world. Help us learn the material. And please answer all the unanswered prayers. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit." She literally did talk like that. And she literally did pop her pills in the middle of class. And she didn't acknowledge it either. So we were all just sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, it was very interesting. Other than that, not much to say about her. Like, she was alright. Like, I didn't hate her. Like, she's fine. That was just a little bizarre, but I guess, I don't know, if you have to take your pills, you have to take your pills. Like, it is what it is. It was just, yeah, it was a sight to see. Let me see. Okay, so we had prayer every single day, 5 days a week. Thinking about Cardi B right now. But yeah, 5 days a week we have prayer, but they're like different for each day of the week. We would have a rosary one day. We would have praise and worship where you just sing songs. We would have like silent. We would have adoration. So adoration was, oh my god, they put like a statue of either Mary or Jesus or whatever in like the Eucharist up there, and we're supposed to kneel for about like 20 minutes, maybe like 30, like a long time. And it's first thing in the morning. So one year, it was junior, I think, everyone started passing the fuck out. Like, I remember the senior girl was the first one to pass out, and then after that, like, a bunch of people started to like just pass out. And like, we were getting scared because it was like, I don't want to go to church if I'm gonna like pass out, you know? And it was like, why is everyone like fucking passing out for that? Like, why? Like, it was just bizarre. But you have to think about it. Incense is going, we are kneeling. It's an unnatural position. A lot of times nobody like drank water or like ate breakfast before going to school because you're in a rush. So I think it was just like a combination of the position and not eating and like the incense and everything that people were like fainting. But the teachers decided to tell us that they were falling asleep in the spirit and that it was a spiritual thing. God was making them pass out and there was nothing to be worried about. And I remember the rest of the year I would just literally kneel there and be like, God, I love you, but please do not make me pass out. I do not want to make a scene. They had to like have a whole assembly and talk to us about how it's okay and that that's just God speaking to us, and that if we have any questions we can talk to the priest. And I said, yes, of course, sign me up. So I talked to him personally, and I said, yeah, this is really scary. Like, it makes me not want to go to church. And he's like, how come? What about it? I'm like, you're passing out. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, when God wants to talk to you, he will talk to you. And I'm like, no, I don't want this. Yeah, people continue to pass out. I continued to pray to not. Like, I don't know, and I never did, so maybe it worked. I have no idea, but that was really weird. To follow up that weirdness, oh, and of course, no offense to the Catholic culture. It is what it is. This is your thing. It is not my thing. I do respect it, but I found it weird, honestly. And you can look at like Jewish tradition and say, yeah, that's weird. So I just feel like we should all agree to disagree, and that's that. Like, I just found these things weird. But one year, this was only 1 year. I don't know why we didn't do it the other years, but they literally carried around like a cross, and we had to go to each like room in the like freaking building and kneel. Someone was like carrying around an incense stick. We had to kneel. They said like a prayer, and then we got up and we went to another room and we did the same thing. And it kind of felt like they were like blessing their like school, like freaking saging it out. Like I have no idea. But I literally felt like I was in a cult in that like very moment, because I didn't understand what was going on, and I still don't. I don't know what that day was about, but we went through literally every room and like kneeled and then said some type of prayer, and then they like had incense, and I don't even know, but that was kind of weird. My favorite class was art class, and I liked it because we would listen to the radio, we would do our art, and I would just say some crazy shit. Like it was like my comedy hour, because there was only like a couple people in the class, and I would just like basically give them like a whole set. Like I don't know, I just got to talk about like life and like everything, and like they would like all laugh. Like I was definitely the class clown, which is why I was in the yearbook senior year as class clown. But it was basically just like my comedy hour. And senior, they like started writing down my quotes, because I don't know, I was just always cracking people up. But I had a lot of issues senior year, especially with like my mental health, and I think everyone basically knew. And like I had told them like that I was like struggling with anxiety that year, and like the kids were really nice about it, but the teacher kind of overstepped a little bit and was like, "Are you taking your meds?" And that made me so like irritated. So I had like a fucking attitude with her the rest of the year. And she basically called me into her office and was like, "You used to be such a sweet person, but now you're just like, I don't know what to do because you always have an attitude with me." And I'm like, basically, bitch, don't ask me if I'm taking my medication. Like that's overstepping. It makes me feel awkward. Yeah. And then when I left after that conversation, I was like saying to my friend, I'm like, "I'm not a bitch, but I can be a bitch if you make me be a bitch." Guess who heard? Guess who heard this? The motherfucking principal, bitch. So I had to talk to the principal, and he had me talk to the priest about being vulgar and how that's not very Christian. Guys, it was so embarrassing. And he's like, "You know, it's just not very ladylike." And I'm like, "I'm not trying to be ladylike." And he's like, "Well, it's just not very godly." And I was like, "God doesn't care." And then he's like, "Well, it just makes you sound intelligent." And I'm like, "Well, if people are gonna look down on me for being less smart than them, I don't care." It was so bad. Like I was, on one hand, I was like the brattiest kid ever, but I was also, you know, I had some points there that I was getting at. That just sucked. Like that was annoying. I didn't always have an attitude, but when people were pushing my buttons, I wouldn't let them. Basically, I wasn't having it. So I was so depressed, you guys. Like I told you that, but senior year, just like stressed. Like we had like the freaking ACT, we had to get all our assignments in so we could graduate, and it was just like the worst year. And my history teacher, who never taught, by the way, ever, like she would put on Precious and call it sociology. She put on The Social Network and said we were learning about econ. Like it was just whack. During the sex scenes, she's like, just forget about that. Like the fuck. But we had all these packets that we had to do, and I'm just like, this is stupid. So I would always turn them in late. And one day there was like a presentation that we had to give, and I was like having an anxiety attack. Like I'm like, I don't want to give this presentation. Most of the time like I would do it, but this time it's awkward, but I had like my like period and I didn't want to go up there because I was afraid that I would bleed through, which is like, that hadn't happened before, but I was just like, when you have anxiety, like you just are thinking in worst case scenario. So I didn't want to explain that to the teacher. And I think I had like just gotten it, so I wasn't like used to these types of things. So I was like, I'm not doing it. I told her, actually, I'm like, I didn't finish it, which was a lie. Like, I did finish it, but she decided to yell at me and say, you're sitting at a D in my class right now, one more missed assignment and you're gonna have an F and you are not gonna graduate. Guys, I picked up all my shit and I left the building. Like, Kelly has left the building. I got in my car, I drove to Starbucks, I drove to Fargo, I got a freaking, like, I just went to Ulta. Like, that's literally all I did, and then I came back around, but they were all pissed. And then they called my parents, and then they were pissed, but they were more like, what the fuck is wrong with my child? Cue anxiety medication. That didn't fucking work, but it was a nice try. I also had to go to therapy after that, but I went to one therapy session. One. And then after that, I'm like, you know what, I'm good. So since I have my own car, like, I was expected to drive myself. I didn't drive myself, guys. I would get out of school with like the appointment slip, and then I would just drive around town, listen to music, get Starbucks. I love Starbucks. So I would like get Starbucks, just drive around, listen to music, and then go home because I would like have the appointments at the end of the day. That was it. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, back to art class. So everyone was supposed to have like, well, not everybody, but there was always an art show at the end of the year, and sophomore year I didn't get in it, junior year I didn't get in it, senior year I really wanted to because there's something like really cool that I had painted, and I was like, shit, I really want to get into the art show this year. I was so excited, but the teacher wouldn't let me be in it. She let everybody else in the class be in it except for me, and I think it was because I was being a bitch to her, but she was being a bitch to me, so it is what it is. It is what it is. And then on like the last day of school, she gave everybody in the class like presents, like going away. This bitch gave me like a black fucking journal, black on the front, black on the back, and then just like white pages. That's it. Like literally from the dollar store or some shit. And then she gave me like a card, and it said like, don't always take the easy way out. There is no shortcuts to success. I'm like, just be shady one last time. Just get one last moment of shadiness in for me. Thank you very much. Like, I don't know. I still, like, I have mixed, like, feelings. Because looking back, yes, I was acting out and shit. But I feel like I would have been nicer if she stayed out of my business. I get being concerned, but you don't need to overstep. Period. So, I don't really know. And like, it would have helped me more to have work in the art show. That would have made me like so happy. It would give me something to focus on. But instead, no bitch. Take that away from me. And then yes, I'm going to lash out, of course. I was also in choir, and I was trolling. I hated school, like I told you guys. Any like moment that I could get out, I would. And so they're having a like choir competition, and I decided to be in it senior year. This is the year I got my balls. And basically you can pick any of your songs. It has to come out of their like songbook, but you can pick it. And The Start of Something New from High School Musical was in it, and that's what I sang, bitch. So I got up in front of all those people and started to sing The Start of Something New at a competition where they judge you. I do not think I placed. I don't think so. I might have, but I don't remember. I feel like, yeah, I don't think I placed. But at least I got out of school for that day, and I got out of school for like rehearsals and stuff, so hey, it was something. But our choir uniforms were so ugly, you guys. They were so ugly. It was like a purple bow tie, a white shirt, black pants, and then a freaking cummerbund, which I didn't even know what the fuck that was until I had to wear it, which was purple too, and then I think black shoes. And I told this bitch that I needed a large because I'm a fucking large, you guys. Like, I'm a big bitch. And she was like, no, I don't think so. I think you're a medium. And she gave me the medium shirt, and the shirt didn't fucking fit. I came to the concert and like my titties are trying to like pop out. And I was just like, this is not a look. So I'm like, I feel ugly. I don't like these people. I don't like these songs. Let me just go. So this is another moment where I booked it. I got in my car and I drove away. And that was kind of like my move throughout the last couple of years of high school. If I was just not having it, I would just fucking leave because I didn't want to be there. So there's that. But yeah, it was a no for me, dog. Like, I didn't want to like stand there in those ugly clothes and my titties popped out singing those songs. Like, I was just like, no thank you, I'm good. What else? So senior year I did the play, which was the first year I ever did a play at that school, and I did a really good job. Like, I killed it. Like, everyone was like saying, oh, you stole the show, and I was like, yeah bitch, I did. So I really thought I was gonna get an award that year because every year they would have an award show at the end of the year. They would call the parents there, which I should have known. My parents were never there because they were never like alerted that I got an award, because I never did. But everybody else did except for me. This is another moment like the art show that just freaking broke me because I felt like nothing. I felt like nobody cared. I felt like I was trying and putting in work and they just didn't give a fuck about me, and I still felt like an outsider even though I had been there like 3 years at this point. And there was like participation awards, certificates, there was like most improved, and then there was a newcomer award to the theater, and I was like, okay, this was my first year, even though I was a senior, and I killed it, and everyone was telling me I killed it, so I got this. No bitch, they gave it to like a little like 8th grader, and I didn't get it. I didn't get any award. I didn't get a participation. I didn't get an improved, even though I resurrected that history grade up from the ground. I didn't get this award for people who aren't Catholic but appreciate the faith. No, I didn't get anything. Nothing, nada. I had to sit there and watch everybody receive their awards for 2 hours straight. And then after that, I had to watch them get their pictures taken, like with their cute little certificates. And I fucking lost it. So I was driving my little Suzuki home, and I just remember crying. Like, I had like the biggest tears like strolling down my face, and I started screaming too. It was like a freaking movie moment, but I was just like, ah, I hate that school. I'm never going back. This is like 2 weeks before graduation, and I was just like, ah. And I just remember screaming and like hitting the steering wheel, not like honking the horn, but like banging on the steering wheel, like, why aren't I enough? Like, I was just like such like, I was so upset. And that's like another thing where it's like, just give the bitch a participation award. Like, she's struggling, she has no confidence, low self-esteem, always in the office. Like, just give her something, you know? But yeah, it builds character though. It was so bad. I was also in like the dumb people classes. So I was in consumer mathematics, which is actually a really good class because you learn about like paying your bills, which yeah, we still struggle with because we're broke. And like loans and interest and credit cards and like all that shit. And then I wish I paid attention because that would have helped me out a lot. And then I was in environmental science, which is what you take when you are too dumb for chemistry. So in environmental science, what we did was we walked around the neighborhood and picked up trash. I shit you not. It was literally like jail community service. Like we literally just had to walk around and pick up trash. And you guys, we didn't even have those like sticks. We had to pick it up with our hands. Whack. One day we tested the water in the river, and then one day we watched birds. That's pretty much all we did in that class. Like, really whack. We did tour the water plant one time, which was cool, but I don't know what the fuck was going on. Like, I still don't get it. So, yeah, that's what's up. That was environmental science for you. But yeah, that teacher also made me cry because my grandpa had like passed away, and I was like, I went to school anyways, and when I came back from the funeral, I didn't have all my assignments done because I was at a fucking funeral. And I also got really sick while I was there, like explosive diarrhea sick. Like, I just, homework wasn't happening. And it was also my birthday, and it was just like a whole big thing. So I came back, assignments weren't done, and he was pissed. So he was like, I don't remember what he said, honestly, but he's just like, basically like the history teacher, he's like, if you don't do your assignments, you're not gonna graduate. And I just feel like you aren't trying, and this is easy material and you're not getting it, and like blah 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 blah. We go back into the class, and we pray before, I think, pretty much all the classes, and he's like, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, today we're just gonna pray that we all step up to the plate when faced with challenges and not quiver and give up. It was like totally directed at me, and they pulled this shit all the time. Like, they literally like subtweeted our lives like in the prayer, and I was just like, thank you for this. And like, this is one of the other moments where I just like told myself that I'm not gonna be shady like this when I grow up, and I'm just going to keep it real and not do that, because that's whack. And then it was another moment when I decided, like, after I graduated, I was completely going to just never go back, never visit, unfortunately not talk to anybody, like even friends. Like, I just needed to completely just like excommunicate myself from Catholic school, because it was just so shitty. And it's like, I just, no matter what a 16-year-old does, like, don't fucking call them out in front of everybody in the form of a prayer. Like, that is so manipulative and wrong. Like, it was just fucked up. So that's what I have to say to him. Things weren't always that bad though. Like, we had this one class, like once a year, instead of like spring break, we still had to come to school, but we would get to take like random ass classes. So I took a pizza class one time, and we literally just made pizzas all day, and it was pretty cool. But I accidentally dropped mine on the floor, like it fell, and it was so sad. And then this girl was like, hey everybody, there's a dead pizza on the ground. And I was like, oh my god. So that was funny. And then senior, I feel like so much shit went down senior year, but it might just be because that's like the most fresh in my memory, even though it was like 7 years ago. We finally got like a stable ass religion teacher, and he like literally came in on a motorcycle. Actually, he came junior year and we had him senior as well, but he literally on the last day of school shut the door, and he's like, do you guys want to hear about demonic possession? And we're all like, yeah. And he told us about this time, like he was part of an exorcism. Like, he's not a priest, but like he was tight with the priest, and they literally did an exorcism on this person. Oh, they also told us that What were they talking about? Oh, they told us about this place where you can see like the Purgatory Museum. So there's literally like books that have like a handprint in them that are like burnt from the people in Purgatory trying to communicate with us, and that everybody who goes to Purgatory will go to heaven eventually, but it might take a really long time and you're gonna be on fire for that whole time. So that's something to look forward to. Yeah. Shit. Another thing that happened was during prayer one day, like the principal came in and he's like, okay, you guys, we're going into lockdown. This was right after Sandy Hook, by the way. And we're all like so scared because what the hell? And they're telling us there's like an active shooter. And we literally had to go into like the very back of the church. It was so tiny. We were like sitting on top of people for like 10 minutes, and then afterwards they told us, oh yeah, that's a drill, by the way. Like, they didn't tell us it was a drill. We were all like so scared. I started praying so much, like, oh my god, it was so scary. Like, I literally thought I was going to die like that day, and I didn't even have my phone on me to like text my parents like, I love you. It was so bad. It was, oh my god, it was so bad, you guys. Prom that year was really fun though. Somebody like had asked me and I like went with them, and it was just like nice. Everyone like danced like a lot, which was really nice because like I know in some schools like people just kind of like sit in the chairs or don't dance, or like don't dance like guys and girls or like whatever. But here everyone like pretty much did the slow dances. We all would like switch partners. Like, it was really nice. It was like the movies, because like people were actually dancing and slow dancing and fast dancing and like everything. Like, the dances there were really fun, to be honest. Everyone would like go out to dinner before, and then we would have our dance moment. So it was really fun that year. The year before, I was so awkward to my prom date. Like, I didn't even say goodbye. I just sent him a Facebook message like, hey, had a great time, bye bye, because we had like gotten separated. It was so awkward, and I never spoke of it after that. Yeah. But like senior year, I was actually like good at my date. Like, yeah, it was awkward. And then, you know what? We had our graduation. I was so fucking happy that day. Literally the happiest day of my life. You couldn't even tell when I was like done. I don't have this picture anymore, but I was just like so happy. I'm like, like holding up my diploma. I was so happy. And then I just remember afterwards went to Olive Garden. I did have a grad party and people from school came. Even a couple teachers did. Then after that, didn't keep in touch with anybody. When I see like teachers in public, like they pretend they don't know me, which is fun and cute. And like I never really approached them because I just feel like I was a student, you know, and like they're like the real adult here, like even though I'm an adult too, but I'm like, I don't know, I just feel like it shouldn't just be me taking the high road all the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm over it for like these people. In other areas of my life, of course, I'm gonna take the high road and do what's right, but I don't know, they could redeem themselves by like saying, oh hey, how you been? But they don't want to. They just want to like pretend they don't know me, which is cool. And I still get letters from them asking for money because I'm an alumni. Yeah, you set me up for so much success when we watched The Social Network in history class, not once but twice. But you know what? It is what it is. And honestly, love and light, that's what we send them, because I was bitter, like really bitter, like the first couple years like out of school. But now it is what it is. Like, that was my experience. I have a lot of good stories from it, and yeah, it is what it is. But I hope you guys enjoyed these stories. If anyone can relate or has their own stories from Catholic school, please put me in the down bar, because I love to hear these stories. They are so funny to me, because I've been through it too. So yeah, that's what's up. But I will see you on the flip side. Bye.